Say it now. Say the obvious prediction right now.
The Stars are going to win the Stanley Cup.
Hey guys, welcome back to Starcaster Mark. Sorry about their technical difficulties for a second. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN.
We're back.
A little bit, yeah, we're back, I promise. Chris is back here with us. He's feeling better again. James, as always, my name's Ryan. Go and use that promo code THPN next time you go and use DraftKings Sportsbook. We appreciate you guys being here with us here tonight. Dallas Stars do win by a final score of 3-2 in the shootout over the San Jose Sharks. Yes. Okay, whatever. A win 2-2 over the San Jose Sharks, as Chris likes to say. Whatever. Stars get the 2 points. The game was a little weird, to be honest with you. I wasn't super frustrated about it. It just kind of was. It was. That's pretty much all I got. Chris, James, what else you got?
Yeah, first of all, our old intro video, if y'all are the podcast people, come watch live. It was not epic enough, so we had to up the epic factor by about 10 times, and now it is sufficiently epic for the moment that happens right after the video. Yeah, it was a weird game. The Stars played really well for the majority of the game, and were just terrible at finishing. So yeah, Corona made a couple of big saves, but the shots that the Stars were getting off on these grade A chances weren't exactly the best either. I mean, the shootout is almost the perfect example of that. There's times where we beat Corona and just didn't put the puck in the net. It was really weird. Corona played well. He played really good. Obviously, you can't make that many saves and not play well, but the Stars made him look good too with some pretty poor shots when they were in the grade A chances.
Yeah, there were definitely for as many great saves that he made, there was as many terrible shots that the Stars just shot straight into his chest.
I didn't necessarily think it was that bad. I thought, honestly, that Corona, you could say both. You could say both are true. Corona played very, very well in today's game, and the Stars didn't take care of their advantages when they had them. And they had numerous opportunities. And I mean, that's really about it, guys. I mean, that was the generation of the game.
And that's how it felt. That's how it's felt for the past 2 or 3 weeks right now. Like, we're getting the chances and we can't bury them. Excuse me, still a little sick. But yeah, we got to find a way to dig ourselves out of that for sure.
I think we will do it. We're just kind of in that rut right now. I think we're finally starting to get over that rut of losing games against teams like this. I think it helps that against a really good team, we lose that game. Let's be honest. I think if we played against Carolina, Winnipeg, Colorado, Vancouver, and their goalie played like that, we lose because the other team would have players that would be able to put the puck in the back of the net. We're just lucky that the San Jose Sharks don't have enough talent on the other side. That's basically what we did. We out-talented the other team.
Well, and Otter had a great game as well. I mean, especially for how weird of a night it was for him. Not a lot of shots, but every time they did get a shot, it was very scary, and they had a lot of good chances that didn't result in shots. So he stayed sharp throughout the game. Maybe the one that snuck through him and danced on the line in a weird way. That's a little bit on him. He's got angle on it, and he should make the stop a little bit better than that. But he made some other big saves, and especially in the shootout, he wasn't going to lose another deep shootout like that.
Yeah, and there were lots of good defensive plays outside of bad turnovers that gave the other team rush chances. But like 5-on-5 in our own zone tonight looked really good, and that's what you should see when you're playing against the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, agreed. All the chances from San Jose were on the rush.
It wasn't just on the rush, but it was also there were some pretty bad turnovers that the Stars had, just really inopportune times and really weird times. And about half the time, it felt like the Stars would be able to recover and they would be able to get back defensively. And then again, the other time, it was just San Jose just didn't get a shot. At least that's just what it felt like throughout the duration of the game. So anyways, lots of good things to talk about, but let's get the first things first out of the way. Talek Lizzie, great goal by Ben in the shootout, but only the Stars can make some no-name goof goalie look like Hasek. Yes. As soon as I saw it was Magnus Corona, and I was just like, never heard of him. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, and then we saw those stats. He had a 9.5 goals against average in his first 3 games. It's like, okay, yep, he's about to have a career night.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I felt.
And really, like, it wasn't like Kronos played awful. He really did play good. He stepped up and played a good game, but the Stars should have had 5-6 goals on him tonight as well.
And Hannah, I'll be completely honest. I facepalmed when I saw Jamie out there. I did a little bit, but at the same time, I was just like, you know what? You've tried all your skill guys. Why not just get? You even did Stankoven before Ben, and he wasn't able to get it. So why not? Let Jamie try it.
We ran out of forwards. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you want to do there.
So seriously, it's really nice that Jamie Benn is the one that kind of gets the extra point for the Dallas Stars tonight. Good on him for doing so. Zachary Mitchell, Dallas was the better team tonight. Shaka have been playing great against some of the best teams.
Sharks have been playing great against some of the best teams.
Yeah, that is true. They did have that one stat they talked about where they had wins against the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 11th best teams in the league. So Sharks getting the 1 point is inconsequential. At this point, it's about accumulating points. Yep, that's about it. And it just sucks for the Stars that they just can't take care of stuff like this in regulation, because if it does come down to, the tiebreaker, the Stars are going to lose that.
That ship has sailed already, though. I mean, at this point, you're not going to catch up on regulation wins. But I'm just happy we got the 2 points and we played well. The Stars played good tonight. It's not like we had a bad game. We just couldn't finish. And we're struggling through that right now. And I think hopefully this upcoming week will help with that. We got a lot of weaker opponents, and it's time to figure out those offensive woes and kind of feast on them here a little bit. We got that week in California. None of those teams are great. The Kings are okay and might play a little bit harder since they're on that playoff bubble, might be trying to push for it, but you got to rack up some points in this upcoming road trip, especially when you're coming back all healthy. Sagan might be in for the next game. We've got Jolt in the arms, Tanev coming in next game, most likely. So yeah, you got to rack up some points here as you head into last month of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Mato over here, Stanky in OT looks very dangerous. He almost ended it twice. he had his chances. He really did.
Yeah.
And especially that first one, the breakaway. I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me! This is perfect. He'll be able to keep his goal streak going, and he does it in overtime. Like, how perfect would that be?" And it was just that close. And then he got a second chance and rang it off the post. And I stood up and I was like running around the house for a split second, like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah, and the first one, like the rest of the game, he beat him. He opened him up, 5 holes wide open, and he can't get the backhand through. It's just that's what it was all game long.
The other thing that does happen tonight is, like I mentioned, the point streak for him does end tonight for Stankoven, but still the guy has 4 points in 5 games. That's still excellent. He has recorded a point in more games than he hasn't. 3 games he has, 2 games he hasn't, and he still looked good tonight. So looking forward, and as much as it sucks for me to say this, but I think going forward that Stankoven is going to stay in the lineup, and when Sagan comes back, Ellie is gonna come out because he has not made that second line look dangerous since he's been on it. They even tried Craig Smith there in the third period to try and get that second line going, and I thought Smith was a little bit better, but still nothing came of it. So that's my James Stradamus moment for myself, is saying that Delandria is gonna. Oh, don't roll your eyes, James. I saw that. Is Delandria is gonna come out when Sagan comes back in?
Yeah, really, the big thing with Delhi, especially tonight, was some of his helping out back in the defensive zone. He got there was one play in particular that one of the Sharks forwards came in and cut him off at the boards, and then Delhi proceeded to not follow the next dude that went to the center of the ice and had a wide open shot in the slot. I mean, that's the type of stuff against bad teams that you cannot see from those players. Like, they have to have good games against the bad teams, and he wasn't sharp tonight.
Yeah, and you also got to think that come playoff times, when the hitting is a little bit harder, Delhi already gets lit up as it is. He gets caught reaching a lot. You got to imagine that that's just going to be amplified once playoffs start.
Another question. Harrison saying the bigger question is who comes out when Dodonov is back. If Stankoven continues the way that he keeps playing, it's got to be one of the other fourth line guys. It's got to be Craig Smith, maybe Foxa, maybe I don't see Steele coming out, but I would probably think that Craig Smith comes out if Dodonov comes back.
I don't see Dodonov coming back, honestly. I mean, I haven't heard anything on that front really, but the way he's been playing partially, and just the nature of us not hearing anything about his injury since it's happened, that makes me think that Dodonov is not back here.
Yeah. And also he is kind of been a problem defensively all season long for us. I think he's still one of the few forwards with a negative plus minus. And I know we hate that stat, but when you are the outlier in a team on it, it's kind of telling.
Padre, the patriarch himself, why did they reassign Stankoven to the Texas Stars and then immediately bring him back up? He knows the answer. He's just setting us up. It is purely a cap move, y'all. And that's going to continue that way until Sagan comes back. Even when Sagan comes back, I don't see Stankoven going down, guys.
No, he's not.
I probably would have said that maybe the third game. I could see him going back down, even if he got to his first goal in his second game. But he's just been super effective, and that he's looked good on that third line with Jamie Benn and Johnston, and he's kind of doing, like I said in the last episode, what Dodonov did last year for those two guys. They just seem to have some chemistry, and it worked out between those three guys. This year it's stinky.
Yeah, and the way the cap works out there is like when you put Stankoven down for one day, his cap hit for that day doesn't hit the Stars cap. So that saves you like a couple $1,000s each time you do that, and you can do it whenever you want. So you might as well do it when it's available. But yeah, Stankoven's not moving down. That would be insanity. He's not going anywhere.
Ricky Spanish, do we know what Daddy's injury is? I think it's something to do with his leg. I think it's something around a broken leg or something like that, I think, but I'm not positive. Obviously, we don't have the luxury of knowing those kind of injuries. All we get is
Lower
lower
body.
body injury or upper body injury. That's all we get.
Especially
So,
with the
I don't know.
Stars, the Stars' lack of journalists in the media room. No one's really going to push to try and
Mhm.
find out that information either. So the Stars are one of the teams that can hide that pretty easily.
Okay, quick side tangent, because Chris, we haven't gotten your thoughts about this yet, but you think Jim will try to add another defenseman before the deadline? You know, at first I was convinced that he was going to because of the cap room that we still have. We have a little less than, I think it's 1.2 now that Stankoven, I think, counts against the cap. But that kind of changed my mind about this, and I don't think they're going to make any more moves. I think they're going to leave that cap space open just in case they want to bring somebody up like a Bishop or a Maverick Bork before the end of the season. That would be my guess, but I don't know. I don't think he'll try to add another defenseman. But Chris, I'll let you go ahead and answer that question as well. But let me also get your thoughts on the Tanev acquisition for the Stars.
Yeah, I didn't even get to talk about that. I was so excited about that when that happened. And that's, I mean, when you go to the other team's media page and they're all upset about the return, you know you got a good deal. The Stars had made a fantastic deal. Only getting 25% there is really absolutely fantastic. So you get Tanev for $1 million this year, and you gave up a second and a fourth essentially. So that's really great. And the conditional third is only if we go to Stanley Cup playoffs, which at that point, who cares about a third round pick? So yeah, that's a masterclass by Jim Nill. I think he's done. Nill is always available if the right trade is there. So if something does come up at the last minute, he'll for sure pull the trigger. I don't think he's giving up the first round draft pick though. I think that's a no-go. And obviously the top 3 prospects are a no-go. I would say maybe even further down the prospect list, maybe top 5 are a no-go. So if there's something available and someone wants to give us a right-handed defenseman for a second round pick, then I'm sure he'll pull the trigger on it, but it'd have to fit with cap and it would have to be low budget. So I don't really see, I don't see it happening too much.
You know, and this is just another thing about Tanev and something I didn't know about him. But when he was in his first year in the league, he actually went to the Stanley Cup final with the Vancouver Canucks. That was something that I didn't know. So on top of him being a really good, defensive defenseman, especially with his shot blocking, I think he's second in the NHL with it. He's also got some Stanley Cup final pedigree, which again, it doesn't hurt for you to have going into the playoffs. So I thought that was really interesting. Talek Lizzie, what's with the Stars looking at Tarasenko? I actually didn't even know they were looking at Tarasenko, to be totally honest with you. For those of you that don't know, Vladimir Tarasenko, former Blues sniper, he's currently with the Ottawa Senators, and he just signed a 1-year deal just to be able to play in the NHL this season. And it looks like he's on the trade market right now. I don't really see the point in it, to be honest with you guys, because if you get Tarasenko like that, then that kind of defeats the whole purpose of having Logan Stankoven up here. That would probably be the spot he slots into.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the only weird thing that you could do is throw him on the 4th line and have Steele, Tarasenko, and Smith. And then that's another scoring line, kind of. But it doesn't make sense.
Not to mention he costs $5 million a year.
Yep.
So no.
It would have to be another double retained thing, which would be kind of strange. But
and even then, he wouldn't fit under the cap.
Yes, even then he wouldn't fit under the cap. That's very true. Okay, let me ask you. I got 2 things, and then I'll let y'all kind of discuss anything. The first thing is the one thing I'm most frustrated about and it kind of goes into the second thing that I want to talk about. But Nils Lundkvist did not play good tonight. And that's so super frustrating for me because I wanted him to be able to stay in the lineup, and he's not going to. Tanev is going to be joining the Stars on the road trip on Tuesday. He's going to be playing against the Sharks for the first time in a Stars sweater. It's very easy for Pete DeBoer to look at the game that Nils Lundkvist just had and say, you're out while Tanev is coming in. Some people were saying, oh, well, Hakanpää is going to come out. No. Hakanpää had a good game.
That makes
Oh, Suter.
that makes negative sense, by the way. If anyone's paying attention to what hand Hakanpää plays on, it's the right side, by the way. That makes negative sense. So
Lundqvist plays on the right, doesn't he?
He does.
The only
But-
person that would come out besides Nils Lundqvist is maybe Ryan Suter. I mean, that's your next worst defenseman, if you want to call it that, even. And it's just not. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know that Lundqvist had like an especially awful game. It wasn't good. I mean, the penalty is not a good penalty, and him and Suter were just protected all night. Which is weird when they were playing the Sharks. You shouldn't have to be protected, but yeah, I think it's obvious that he's the one that's going to be coming out with how many chances he's been given to take the next step and him not being able to do it. And also based off of what you've seen from Suter in the playoffs last year, he obviously can take a step forward. He's got another thing that he's saving in the bank that he can kind of hopefully lock into like he did last year.
Yeah.
And then Hakanpää,
and that Suter's already pulled out this year when Miro went down.
Yeah,
exactly. He was huge. He was huge for the Stars when he went down.
And Hakanpää just being a big piece of meat and being a penalty kill specialist, that's enough to keep you in over Lundqvist, who isn't able to do either of those things.
He doesn't play on the power play either, which is, it's not really his fault when you've got Miro Heiskanen and Tomas Hertl.
No, it is his fault. He was on the power play to start the season. He was given that chance. That's what we're saying. Everything is his fault. He's been given the opportunity to take the step forward, and it's just he hasn't developed to that point yet. And we got to keep playing him, and I'm sure we'll see him in probably a similar role next year, and hopefully he takes that next step next year.
And I'll go ahead and pull this up too. Nils was fine. You're tripping, Ryan.
Yeah.
Maybe, but the fact is he had a lot of turnovers tonight. Actually, yeah, Casey, our sister, he was not. He time after time giving up rushes, and it was even more obvious that Pete DeBoer kind of had the same mindset because towards the end of the game, 5 minutes left, he was not out there with Suter. It was Esa Lindell who was out there with Ryan Suter, and that tells me right there that he's going to be scratched when Tanev comes in.
I don't think he was especially bad, but I think he's definitely getting scratched.
The problem
is
either
way he was going to get scratched, but the game tonight did not help his case. Is the main point I'm saying.
I didn't think
part of the issue is that there's just a sizable gap between him and every other defenseman that's on the lineup right now. I mean, you 1-to-1 compare him to anyone else on the lineup defenseman wise. I mean, he loses it every single time, no matter what. I mean, even Lindell's playing on the right side now too.
So maybe we see. I really don't know what it's going to look like, and this goes into my second thing. And this tweet blew up today when I put it out there. I asked everybody who would they like to see as the defensive pairings for the Stars, and there were numerous comments. I mean, I'm telling you, there were so much discussion, which is awesome because I really love to see stuff like that. But with Tanev coming into the lineup, what do you think the Stars D pairings are going to look like going into the game on Tuesday?
Yeah, the real question is it Harley Heiskanen or is it Tanev Heiskanen?
That's the big question, in my opinion, too. So, who do you think, Chris?
I
know.
I can really see it going either way. I know what I want. I want Tanev to play with Heiskanen, to put Heiskanen on his strong side and see if that opens up some more offensive potential for him, which I think it could. We've seen Heiskanen try to be played on his strong side a little bit at the beginning of this season, but it was abandoned kind of quickly, I feel like. He wasn't given enough time to really let it play out. But on the other hand, Harley Heiskanen has been working so well, especially offensively. They can be extremely dangerous. So it's hard to say you should break something like that up. But I'd rather see the puck-moving defensemen spread out down the line a little bit further. So I'd like to see Heiskanen Harley put on different lines.
I think it just makes sense to have Tanev with Suter more than it makes sense to have Tanev with Miro. Because of what Harrison says here in the comments, you're taking out one right-handed defenseman for another. You still only have two in the lineup. Someone else has to play on the right side. And if you're saying Tanev Miro, you have to play Harley or Lindell or Suter on the right side. And we know they can do it. It's just not ideal for any of those players to actually do it. And maybe that's why you see Lindell play with Suter tonight for a second, because we've seen Harley Hockenpah work before as well. But it would all be shifted over and weird. So it could work, but it changes every single pairing down the line if we do that.
I don't know that he's going to play with Suter just because Suter doesn't get the minutes. I mean, he might like play half of his shifts with Suter, but
kind of what I am hoping more happens is that he's able to play with Suter, and Suter can play more minutes, and the minutes even out even more than they have been recently. I mean, that seems very likely to me, because we know Lindell and Hakanpää can play well together. They play normally 20 minutes a night. We know Heiskanen and Harley play well together. They play 24 plus minutes a night. And then the other pairing plays 16, 17, whatever is left. But if you can get Suter and Tanev together, then you can have another pairing that can play 20 minutes a night as well. And you have 3 pairings who can all play 20 minutes.
I don't want Suter to play 20 minutes a night, though, honestly. Like, especially when the playoffs come around. Like, there's no reason that Suter and Tanev should have similar minutes, I feel like. Like I feel like you're taking the ice away from your better defenseman.
That can be true, but also we saw in the Golden Knights series that be proven wrong. I mean, we just got destroyed, battered every single time they dumped the puck in. Our defensemen were dead by the end of that series.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like the Knights were able to get away with that more because there wasn't really one defenseman on that team that was head and shoulders above the rest. They were all just good. They were all very good defensemen and solid. The Stars, I mean, Heiskanen to Suter is a massive gap. And I want Heiskanen on the ice a lot more than Suter. And I want Tanev on the ice a lot more than Suter. I mean, I think Tanev is your second best defenseman now on this team. So I think putting him with Suter that's not going to, that's taking ice away from your better players, in my opinion.
I really don't see it that way. I really think we're going to see a lot more even out. I think we're going to try to see Miro be a little bit more unhinged and skate down a lot more, which he has done recently as well. He's just skated the puck from the top of the zone down deep because that's the way he's scored recently. And I think that's the way he's going to score most of the time. But I think a more lively Miro for 20 minutes a night is better than Miro playing solid defensively all night long for 27 minutes. If you have the other defensemen who can also play defensively.
Agree or disagree?
So, I mean, like this is the reason why I brought it up, because I mean, there are so many options here. It's ridiculous. It's almost like when you go to a restaurant and their menu is so large, you're trying to find something. There's almost too many options. It almost seems like. So one of the things I've thought about is why not just throw things in a blender for a little while and just kind of see what sticks. I'm not saying we do that against LA, especially because LA is coming up on this road trip. That's the one game I think we shouldn't do that on. But I mean, you're playing against the Sharks and the Ducks in the next 2 games. Depending on the situation, if you're in the offensive zone, have Miro and Harley. If you're in the defensive zone, maybe you put Miro with Tanev back there instead of Harley. And maybe that's something that Pete DeBoer does and goes with moving forward, rather than just, okay, well, these guys are stuck together and these guys are stuck together and they're not allowed to play with anybody else. I think we could see something like that where it's just kind of just depending on the situation, you can mix and match your defensemen, and then they all get used to playing with each other, and then they know how to play with each other, with whoever they're playing with. I mean, I think it could work out. Yes, no?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, it's going to be shuffled around a little bit just to figure it out. I mean, unless Tanev plays with one guy, and that just is fantastic, but we'll see. I think since he's just such a hot commodity, I think he's probably going to play. I bet he plays with Heiskanen in the first game at least.
That would be my guess as well, because Tanev played with Hughes in Vancouver in his second time around in Vancouver. Ardell says. I mean, there's more. There's more opinions here. Harley with Lindell's what Ardell says. Chance saying you have to have 7 good defensemen. Vegas proved that last year. Dramama, Tanev with Lindell, and make Gianni your 7th. Tanev with Miro. Miro could have Makar level success if placed on his strong side. Put Tanev with Miro or Harley. I mean, it's just all over the place with what you could do, and there's a lot of fans that have differing opinions. So I don't know. This could be very interesting moving forward.
And the good thing is we got about 20 games to figure it out too. So
which is kind of nice.
Now's the time to figure it out.
So okay, that's all I got, and we went a little over tonight. Chris James, you got anything else? We gotta do biggest winner, biggest loser. Almost forgot. Who have you got for biggest winner, biggest loser tonight?
James, you can go first.
Biggest winner. I'm gonna give it to the 4th line. They worked really hard tonight, and they score their goal off of pure work. Really, I mean, they all are just skating in their heart, and then they throw it in front. Steele has a good tip that makes the goaltender bobble it, gets behind him, and Fox just wrestles his way, throws the other dude off the puck, and shovels it in. I mean, and that really got us going, and we were stuck in the mud till they got that one goal. And after that, it felt like we had a little bit more going for us.
I'm going to give mine to Corona. I know I kind of talked down what he did a little bit in the beginning of the podcasting. The start shots weren't the best, but to come off of 2 horrible starts like that, where you don't even finish either of the games, and to figure it out the way he did tonight. I mean, he was a man on the mission. He wasn't going to have another game like that, and he showed up and played great. Almost a .950 save percentage from the rookie.
In his defense, a little bit, you know who his first game was against? The Oilers.
Yeah, but he just played the Dallas Stars, who have more goals per game.
Okay, but like they have 2 of the biggest superstars in the world, and Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. So that's hard to do in one of your first NHL games. But anyways, I will give my biggest loser tonight. I'm going to give it to Nils Lundkvist. I know how some people feel about him, but
Pooping on my guy, yo.
I know. I'm sorry, but like I've been trying to pick him up and like push him up and try to make it to where he's going to stay in the lineup, but I can't do it after a game tonight like this. I don't think he played well. My biggest winner, I'm going to give it to Robo, because we haven't been able to give it to him lately. He gets a power play goal tonight. Beautiful shot. And he tied the game, allowed Jamie Benn to get the game winner in the shootout. So mine's
back-to-back game with goals from the first line. Hopefully that's getting back to normal. I'm going to have a kind of a weird biggest loser. Not super weird, but kind of weird. I'm going to give it to Dellandrea. I mean, he was given a good opportunity there to play with a line that's kind of humming with Duchesne and Marchment, and sliding Dellandrea in there kind of felt like he might be able to get back to doing some of the stuff he was doing last year, where he was really adding some energy to some of those lines, and he's just not able to do it. I mean, part of it's not being able to finish. He's getting a good spots to score, and I think he scored 1 goal since he's been given the chances on the top 3 lines. And tonight, obviously, his defensive deficiency is what kind of pulled him from that line, I feel like, at the end of the game there. So I'm going to give it to him just because of the squandered chance. And yeah, when we see Sagan back, that's most likely what's gonna come out is Dellandrea.
And that's fair. That was kind of my thought too. I actually thought about giving it to Dellandrea just because he just didn't relish in his opportunity of being on that second line. And it's probably not all his fault. It probably isn't, because Duchesne and Marchment haven't looked as good either. Marchment has actually looked a step slow for me.
I thought Marchment looked great tonight. I thought he had some incredible passes.
Yeah, that's what I should rephrase that. I'm not like downing on him at all, like I was Nils Lundkvist. I think he hasn't been as fast or as dominant as we've seen him be. I think he's like isn't he on like a pointless skid right now? He's got like 6 to 8 games, 7 games.
8
it's right now without a point. So,
and I think part of that is due to Sagan not being there too, though, because that line is definitely all chemistry together. When they score, pretty much all 3 of them get points.
Yes, exactly.
My biggest winner is winning the face-off with your hand.
Oh my god.
Or Biggest Loser. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't
Hitting
know
the face
about
off
that
with your
one.
hand.
I don't
I
know.
I mean,
about
I
that.
think why he got called is because he moved his glove off of his stick and his glove touched the puck, which did pull it back. But I don't think it was intentional, but it apparently is a penalty. I didn't know that.
I knew it was a penalty, but that's as ticky-tacky as it gets. I mean,
He won it with his hand.
he only technically won it with his hand. I don't
That's
think that is the
technically is what we're looking for.
I don't think that is the
I
intent
don't
of the
know.
rule.
I didn't think it was that bad. I would not have called it if I was a ref. I would have been like, okay,
No,
he was trying to get it.
Playoffs, that's never called.
Yeah,
you
I
try
guess that's
calling
true.
that in the
Yes. There you
playoffs
go,
with
yeah.
5 minutes left in the third period.
Oh man, no.
It'd be a riot.
They
Yeah,
gave it
no.
back to
No,
him
that would definitely
in
happen.
the overtime with
No,
Miro
that wasn't-
throwing a pick for some reason.
That was not giving it back. That was an obvious call.
What was Miro thinking?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty stupid as well.
That
I mean,
was
to
the
be
most
honest.
obvious
Like
call.
Miro, like he even like it was. He had like offensive pass interference there too. Did you see him? He like shoved him.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
it wasn't even like a rub. He just full on hit him.
I was like, and I would have been a lot more mad if we had lost in overtime because of that. And so it doesn't affect us, but still, Miro, don't do that. Come on. Okay. Anyways, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here tonight. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook for being our sponsor. Use that promo code THPN. There's been a ton of people here tonight. Guys, we had up to 34 live tonight. I think, again, second night in a row where we've broken that streak. So lots of people getting on live here.
It's got to be that new intro. It's just too epic. It calls people. It beckons them.
It was a lot of work, guys. Okay, I spent a long
I'm
time.
not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the music is extremely dramatic. That's all I'm saying.
That was the point. I thought it was it's cool, but it's also slightly funny at the same time. That's kind of why I put it that way, right? It's just a podcast, and it's got this epic like vocalist music going on in the background. I thought it was kind of funny but cool at the same time.
I love when you explain jokes, Ryan.
Yes, it's hilarious. Okay. Anyways, there's more of you that are listening afterwards. Appreciate you guys listening as well. Go and use that promo code once again, THPN, alongside Chris and James. My name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. Chris is going to take us out. Chris?
Baby shark, do. GG boys.